But. Get them headphones on. Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to another episode of the Unfiltered podcast, brought to you by yours truly, Ethan Durrett, and
Rene Diakite. We out here making moves, doing all that. If you guys want to support us, you know what we can do down below. The Crown.
Yes.
Code.
Yes.
Unfiltered 10 on the Crown website.
On the Crown website, right down below, as we mentioned before, for those that have not heard, we're in partnership with Crown Movement.
Yes, sir.
Owned and ran by Matthias. And
if you know that guy, he's a sick guy.
Sick guy. Men's mental health.
All of that.
Beautiful thing. And yeah, support him, support us. Every shirt that you buy will be $10 off. So instead of 30, they're 20. And then free shipping in the Red Deer region. So anyone in Red Deer, tune in, cop one, pump motherfucking cover. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Pump cover.
Oh, pump cover. Pump cover. That's what's up.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're watching this episode right now, I know we're a day late. Schedules didn't line up. Last video croaked. We were overtired, to be perfectly honest. I just started laughing like the Joker.
Actually,
so
it was funny as fuck.
That'll probably be in a blooper
started
reel.
banging his head on the mic.
All right, enough of that. Enough of
like,
that.
What's going on?
So we're going to go right back into it. We're going to try this again. Last time we tried to film, we were talking about the dopamine detox and everything that goes with that. So you want to take it away? I know I tried last time, but it didn't end too well.
Yeah, let's jump into it. So essentially, whether you like it or not, everybody has an issue with electronics, with their phones, TV, iPads. We got the iPad kids. You know what I'm saying? There's an issue detaching ourselves from false reality and reality. And we see it all too often, you know, texting and driving, you know?
That's true.
Texting while you're out for dinner with somebody.
Like put the phone
being
down.
on your phone while you're in class, like being on your phone while you're in the library trying to study, like things like that. Being on your phone while you're reading, being on the phone in the shower. Like when it gets to the point where it's excessive, you know, being on the phone while you're cooking, the bathroom, just like all these areas where you should not be distracted by your phone, and you are, that's when you know you have a problem.
And it goes so much deeper than just your phone. Like the phone is just the immediate example, right? Because it's always on us. It's been a part of us for most of our lives. If you're a little bit of an older generation, then maybe not as much. But now that it's there, you find yourself always pressing the button.
Yes.
You know? And it's really hard to get away from that. But it's also hard to get away from bad habits, getting away from bad productivity. For example, video games is another bad one. I'm a big video gamer. That's me. I do that. And sometimes I find myself doing it too much, you know, to the point where it hinders me.
Essentially, what characterizes itself as a dopamine, right, is, think about it this way. Whenever you know that you need to do something, homework, for example, and you choose to do something more desirable instead, you're feeding it your dopamine, right? And you're frying the receptors, and you're destroying your ability to self-control, to discipline, and in the end, you're causing more self-harm than any good. And in any situation where that occurs, that's essentially what this is all about. Instead of doing your homework, you decide to lay on your phone, swipe through TikTok, play some video games. And we all know that point where it comes to, and you're like, oh, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. You have a problem. That's an issue.
No, for real.
Whenever you're in that situation, always choose the harder outcome, the harder decision. So do the homework, do your laundry, do the dishes, all these things, right? And obviously, like I've said in the past, we're all human. We all give in eventually. But for the most part, you need to be strict. You need to be able to resist.
Set your own limits, set your own boundaries.
To resist the comfortable side of your mind, right?
We've gone super in depth about that, all that kind of jazz in prior episodes, like reference like episode 8, was it with John?
Yes.
Episode 8. So we talk about social media in that one. And then I think episode 4, This Is Why You'll Never Have Your Dream Car. Love that episode.
It's a good episode.
We go talking about like the bad habits and the things that people do, and then they wonder why they're not up or why they're not far ahead or why they're not where they want to be. And it's all those habits that kind of get into it, right? That start hindering you. If we don't make too much sense, I want you guys to check out Better Than Yesterday's YouTube channel. He made a video on the dopamine detox, and that's kind of what inspired me to get this episode going. I know we've name dropped, we're going to do dopamine detox soon, and now we're finally doing it. But that was the inspiration for this video. So take a look at that because it really starts to make sense and it puts it in perspective. So I'll summarize a few points that he made in that video.
Yeah, let's get like scientific a little bit.
Yeah.
Because everyone can be like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. But let's understand like the deeper reasoning, the harm that it causes.
Because
the
dopamine
that it does,
dopamine is such a powerful drug, right? And that's a drug that's created right here. We have that. That's like intrinsic. It's
right
in us,
right in the mind,
right? So, for example, there's a lab study, right, where they used rats and they stimulated their areas of the brain that creates dopamine, right? So they made it so whenever a rat flicked or pressed a lever, they gave it a lot of dopamine. So that rat would now flick the lever over and over and over and over and over again to get that dopamine stimulation, right? Because dopamine is the motivation drug. It's what allows you to do things. It's what makes you want to go outside for a walk. It's what makes you get up in the morning. It's what makes you go to work. You're motivated to do these things because of dopamine, right? But now, when that addiction gets so strong, for example, in the rat's case, they wouldn't be interested in anything but flicking that lever, right? So that's one example. The other example, counter to that, is I believe it's something to do with the inhibition of dopamine. So simply put, you don't get dopamine as much as you would for other activities. And the rats basically just wanted to lay there and die. They didn't feel like doing anything, right? So those are extreme cases, and you may not see the point, but think about it. We're always on our phones, right? When we don't have our phone, you brought this up the last time. Where's my phone? Where's my phone?
Yeah, patting all over the place.
Patting all over the place.
Panicking.
Sometimes like I've lost my phone in like the sheets or something in the morning, and I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, what the hell? Where's my phone? Kind of thing, right? And at that point, you got to start asking yourself, to what point am I attached to this thing, right? Because it's giving you a dopamine, whether you like it or not. That's something people have to realize. And like I said, the phone is the most easy example to kind of follow with that, right? Because you get your notifications, right? You get dopamine. You press something, you get dopamine. Let's see, Snapchat. You Snapchat someone, you get dopamine, right? All of these small behaviors that you don't think add up over time, add up in frequency, add up in quantity. The more that you do something, right, the more you're going to want to keep doing that thing. And now that comes to another concept with dopamine that is kind of gets into the more you do something, the less dopamine stimulation you're going to get. So it's going to make you want to do it more so you can get that same effect.
Oh,
you get what I'm saying?
It's just like hard drugs.
Literally. Like think pornography addiction.
I was talking to this guy that does like pretty hard drugs. And he said you can only do them so many times in your life before you don't get the effect anymore. Yeah. Because the dosages that you'll need to be taking can kill you. Yeah. Like, exactly. So you can only do it like once every couple of years. Otherwise, like eventually you'll just overdose.
Obviously,
and that's why don't
condone drug use. Don't do that.
No, of course not. But just an extreme example of dopamine.
No, 100%. And real addiction to like drugs, when we get into like dopamine with that, we're not going to touch addiction as a whole today on this episode. But if you are addicted to something and it's out of your control, that's okay, right? Seek help. Help is the best thing you can do for yourself, right? And it's not a bad thing, because there's something that goes to say that when it's out of your control, when it's like a psychological and a physiological dependence, when you are like physically and psychologically addicted to something, right, you won't always be enough. There's some people that do have the power, but for the vast majority of people out there, you need someone else to help you out of that. So just to get that out of the way. But with dopamine, going back to that, it really lies in the things that we do. And it bases itself much deeper than that, because if you haven't noticed, right, obviously you've heard this a lot, we're a generation of instant gratification, right? We do something, cause effect. It doesn't take a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right there. You know, we want to go look something up on the internet. Just pull out your phone. 2 seconds. Like that. People back in the day, they had to go to the library and study books for like half an hour to even find out,
or like flip through
premise.
the dictionary.
You know,
I remember even when I was in grade 3. I'd go to my grandma's.
I was there too.
Study and whatever, and we'd have to look through the dictionary.
And it's a grind. It's a process. But now that everything's so instant and you get it like immediately, right? People are starting to lose sight of the deeper effects of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
it's very handy. It's a tool, but when misused or in too large of dosages, it's very dangerous, and it causes a lot of harm.
100%.
Always being able to just have right now. What happens when all of a sudden you don't have that option? Right? What happens when you're out in the woods? Lots of movies. There's always that girl, right? In the new Jumanji movie. You remember you know that movie? The blonde girl, right? She's obsessed with her phone. And she ends up going into the forest and she's like freaking out.
Yeah, because you don't got the phone.
She doesn't have her phone. And I mean, that can happen at any point, right? You can be put in a situation where you don't have what you depend on.
100%.
And then you're going to lose your mind and you're not going to be able to fend for yourself. You're not going to be able to do anything without that. And that's a huge problem.
It's again, people don't think about it.
That's why they say everything in moderation. Right?
Absolutely.
Too much of anything, anything is bad for you.
I can speak about that from personal experience too, because ever since I was little, right, like I'm just stubborn like that. Like even if I get a schedule made for me, my mom helping me out maybe when I'm a little younger, right, I never wanted to follow it. I always wanted to do things my way, and then I wanted to play games for an X amount of time, and then fuck the homework, whatever, right? And I'm seeing some of those habits develop negatively even to this day, and it's just now that I'm realizing that I have to break out of those habits, right? It's a lot, because when you play a video game, for example, again, easy to pick at, right? You're getting dopamine. It's a really high releaser of dopamine because you're achieving goals in the game. Maybe you're beating a boss, something along those lines, right? You want more of it because it makes you feel good, right? And all of a sudden, those tasks that are easier, or not easier per se, but harder to work on and get dopamine from, you don't want to do them anymore because they don't achieve the same result, right? That's like the basis of addiction, right? Doing your homework won't release as much dopamine as playing a video game, right? But then the more you play the video game, the longer you will want to play that video game to get the same effect.
But the more you do the homework, then it'll give you the same effect as a video game eventually. If you remove what gives you the high dopamine completely out of your life.
That's true.
No phone, no video game. Eventually, that is the idea of the dopamine detox. Eventually, something else will take its place.
That's true.
Right? Everyone says, "Oh, it's so hard to get out of bed in the morning." Like I can't get out of bed in the morning. It's so difficult. Eventually, you'll have like so much dopamine that will be rewarding. Getting out of bed in the morning, making your bed, shot of dopamine. Right? The little things, the little things that are essential in life.
It's restructuring it one step at a time, right?
Yeah, and it's not an easy process, right?
I see your example from earlier, right? Like, if homework is the only thing, right? A lot of people might have just watched that, heard that, and went, "What the hell?" But if you just do homework, right? If homework is video games in this case,
exactly,
right? You'd be addicted to homework.
Yes.
You'd be addicted to doing it.
Yes.
Right? Doing that page, flipping it, doing the next, reading something, right? And that's what people want to be like. That's every
successful person. Every successful person gets dopamine hits from their craft. Yeah. Right? The runners, the swimmers, football players, all the athletes, right? The writers, right? The programmers, the architects, the engineers, the doctors, all of them, right? They all get hits off of what they do for a living, right?
Exactly.
If they love their job, they get hits off of that, right?
It's a very strong chemical compound, right? But when you look at it, you will get dopamine from so many other things that'll make tasks like doing homework irrelevant.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Like why would you do that if you're gonna get zero pleasure from it?
Right? And the other thing is the long-term effects. The long-term effects of doing your homework is that you'll understand your class better, right? You'll do better on tests. You'll get better grades. It's like a linear relationship, right? But when watching a TikTok video is more fulfilling, fills you with more joy, happiness, which again is dopamine, instead of doing your homework.
But it's funny because you look back and you're like, what did I even just do for the last hour?
Exactly.
Like, what did I do? Like,
exactly.
I didn't retain any information.
At the end of the day,
I got nothing positive except for in the moment, instant gratification and dopamine hits.
At the end of the day, it's not fulfilling at all.
It's not.
Right? That's where you start to see that it's an addiction. Well, and we've all been there.
You're receiving a false sense
of something.
Of
accomplishment.
Yeah. Exactly. A false sense of it. You feel like so good in the moment, and then you look back and you're like, and you beat yourself up. You're like, oh, like, why did I just do that? Like, that was such a waste of time. I have so much shit to do. Like, when you procrastinate, right? When you're busy, you have so much stuff to do, tight schedule, and you procrastinate, then you're just fucking yourself over even more.
Literally.
Like, what the fuck? What are you gonna do now? Fucking
bro's angry.
Pack your bags. Upset. Hit the road.
Cut.
Literally.
Cut.
You're
leave.
Done.
That's it.
Like, what are you gonna do?
It's so toxic. But the first step is admitting it to yourself, right? I believe I've said that in another episode, but the first step is admitting it to yourself that you have a problem. That's the first step to anything.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you sit there and you're on your phone and you don't see the problem with it, then that's all you're going to do. And you're going to do it continuously, right? We all started off watching videos on our phones, maybe like 1 or 2 TikToks, going, haha, that's funny. Okay, whatever, that was stupid. Let me close the app, right? To where it evolves into scrolling there for an hour to the point where you get the notification. You've been scrolling for way too long now, right? And it's hard to escape, too. I also brought that up in our little flop, right? Because you can delete TikTok, but then you have Instagram Reels, you have YouTube Shorts, you have Snapchat
Yeah,
Reels.
It's on every single
It's
platform.
everywhere.
It's impossible.
And it's hard to get away from.
To remove from your life.
Right? So everything in moderation, like you said earlier, right? It has to come from you. You have to set your limits, and you have to realize that it's a problem.
Well, Apple makes it very easy to set your limits. You can...
it's a lot of things do that.
You can set a time for certain apps on your phone.
Yeah.
Right? That's not difficult. And then it just comes down to like when you see the time that goes off, you're like, oh, okay, I've hit my limit for the day.
And if you start bypassing that, if you start going, oh, whatever, let me keep going,
that's
sit down and have a conversation with yourself,
that's
right?
That's a problem.
Because that's crazy.
That's a problem.
That's different. That's next. You need to chill out and reevaluate what you're doing. Because again, I've spent so many times being on my phone, watching TikTok for like an hour, and I'm like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's not setting me up for anything.
Setting the timers is really important because I feel like a lot of people do get lost in the trends of it all, right?
For sure.
Like you'll look at the clock and you'll be like, dang, it's been an hour.
That was my problem.
But if you set a timer, then you'll be aware, okay, I've hit 45 minutes for the day already. It's 9 a.m. I need to not be on this for the rest of the day.
Right? You should be doing something else, do your homework, be productive, finish something that you were working on, maybe go work out, like do something that will benefit you, right?
Well, you'll notice that parents always like limited us to what we
I was going to get on to that, right? Because I was saying that was my problem before, is that my mom, she would try to go, hey, no more video games, and then I just find another way to get back on it.
Yeah.
Right? Which that starts off when you're younger and people overlook that. But I'm sitting here now, I'm 19 years old, and I've done that since I was like 5.
Yeah.
And I'm just seeing, and I'm just accepting and realizing the fact that that's not cool.
But like,
right?
When you're a kid, you're like, oh, like I just want to keep having fun.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you don't realize it, right? You don't realize all the things that we're talking about in the episode right now. To a kid, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's whatever, but they don't realize the long-term effects. They don't realize that doing their homework could bring them up more. And that's more up to the parent at that point. Good parenting and whatnot.
That's difficult though.
But it is really hard, especially when we're saying everything around you gives you more dopamine than doing your homework now. Watching TV, playing video games, being on your phone, watching YouTube videos, all of that procrastination, right? The homework is just unattractive. The process is unattractive. So the point of the dopamine detox, to get on that, right? The point of the dopamine detox is to kind of take control of your life again, right? Because you don't want to be a slave of the mind, right? That's what another thing people don't realize, is that your brain controls not just you, not just your body, but who you are.
Yes,
your being,
I mentioned that yesterday. either you are a slave to your mind or your mind is a slave to you.
Exactly.
So you need to control your mind and not let your mind control you. Because when you let your mind control you, you're useless.
Yeah.
You have zero control of the situation.
Right? You want that next hit of dopamine.
You're nothing.
Right?
You're nothing.
For example, I'm trying to stop checking my phone every 5 minutes, right? I'm trying to stop checking for the next notification. Like, if I get a notification, okay, but I try not to care about it, you know? Small steps, everything in moderation. You got to start picking at the wall with that pickaxe, right? Slowly but surely. Getting control over your life again. So, listen to this, right? This was another thing that Better Than Yesterday had brought up in the video. I want you to kind of dissect this after I'm done explaining it to you, right? So 2 ways of doing a dopamine detox, right? The most popular method, or the most kind of just when you think dopamine detox, that's what it is. You pick a day out of the week, right? That day, every single week for the next however long, next few months, next year, next 5 years, you don't do anything that gives you dopamine, right? You don't go on your phone. You don't touch your laptop. You don't play video games. You maybe go outside for a walk instead, go work out, write things down, journal, things like that. But don't do those tasks that would normally give you a lot of dopamine, right? And slowly but surely, those like uninteresting tasks, right? Things that don't seem like they'll put you anywhere or make you in a good mood instantly, right? All of a sudden, those things start being more attractive. Maybe cooking, maybe cleaning the dishes, making your bed, cleaning your room, those small tasks that everybody needs to do anyway, but it's hard to do when, again, you have TikTok for like 2 hours just scrolling, right?
Well, it's like if you compare, or you give a kid 2 options. Do you want to eat cookies for dinner, or do you want broccoli and chicken?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck mom, I want fucking cookies. What
That's the other thing, right? Comfort foods, right? You anticipate how good it's going to make you feel, and that's what gives you the dopamine hit. That's why you want to eat it. Yeah. That's another good point. That's also another thing in the video too. So that's the first method of the dopamine detox, right?
Well, it's like, yes, it's a comfortable place. You've already been there. You know how it makes you feel. So you're always going to go back for more and more and more.
And that first method is really hard to do.
I personally think that would be very difficult.
It's very hard to do because whether you like it or not, you need your phone to maybe text someone, to keep updated. Maybe you're expecting a call later on in the day, or right? Like especially that's true the more you grow up, because you need those things around you just in case something, right? And that's another issue with it, right? That we can say put away your phone, don't do that, don't touch that, but then a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, well, that's weird. Why would I do that?"
That's the issue with the phone, is that it's a means of communication. Yeah. It's so difficult to completely remove that from your life, because you need it to, talk to XYZ, and you also use it to distract yourself. Dopamine hits, yada yada yada.
It's too versatile of a device.
I'm about to switch to a flip phone.
Fuck no. Never catch me on a flip phone.
Like that's crazy. I just don't even. It's just so.
It is a lot.
It's just so annoying,
right?
Like it pisses me off,
and it's also going against the norm, right?
Like I want to get rid of it. I'm sick of always being on it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I need and that I rely on.
Yeah.
For certain tasks in my life.
Exactly. Right? Like, you need a calculator, whip out your phone.
Dude,
I need to find out what time the bus is coming at, whip out your phone.
I don't even use my calculator anymore. I'm just my phone.
Crazy.
I don't use anything but my phone for everything that I do.
Yeah. And it's
calendar,
simple.
Alarm, camera.
It's a hub, and people really
like, Jesus Christ,
overestimate or underestimate what it can do, right? Like, you've got to really be conscious about the effects that your phone
Dude,
can
it's
have
a
on
full extension of the human body.
Everything.
Like
that's what it is now.
You know, in video games when you have like that little pet that follows you around?
Yeah.
Right? Pokemon, for example?
Yeah.
That's what our phones are.
It's like a Pokedex.
It's literally a Pokedex. It's literally just a...
And it's there.
It's always there.
Readily available. Like we don't want to sound like old people, like, oh, phones, but it's true, right? The faster you come to terms with that, right, the better off you're going to be. And
if we can realize this right now at 19, you're in your 20s.
Or maybe you're younger. God bless if you're younger.
it's really, really, really going to help you. Like, we're not spewing this because we want to see less phones out. Like,
phones are amazing.
It's just,
right?
It's just not good for you.
What's not amazing is when you waste your time for 2 hours and then you had homework and you go, oh, fuck, well, what am I going to do tomorrow? Wake up earlier. Then you lose sleep. Then you're not as alert in the morning, and just it spirals into a whole mess.
You're just fucked.
Right? And the other thing, too, is that if you decide to go on kind of that kind of dopamine detox journey, if you don't want to touch your phone, if you're not on social media, like, for example, deleting social media is a really popular one that people do, because they're like, oh, I'm addicted to liking people's pictures, I'm commenting too much, or whatever random shit.
The problem with that one is that you can delete it for X amount of time, but as soon as you re-download it, you're back to where you were.
Exactly.
Like, nothing changed.
And the other thing, people will judge you for doing that. They'll go, oh, why did you delete Snapchat?
Who cares?
Right?
But
it is a thing. It is a thing.
Who cares?
A lot of people are influenced by their surroundings, right?
Who cares?
Right? That's what you want to say. Who cares?
If you want to do that, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who cares?
Right?
No one cares.
And then it's also a way of socializing, right? That I think we kind of touched upon the fear of missing out too.
Well,
right? Like the next TikTok trend or the next
the
meme
thing is, like,
or the next picture.
Phones are a way of being in touch with people at all times, right? You could be on the other side of the world and I can be face to face with you.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of them. But it's such a love-hate relationship, 'cause they become abused, right? They fry your dopamine receivers, but they're so
receptors.
Handy. Yes, receptors.
Yeah.
They're so handy. They're always there. They're reliable. Like, it's like a little mini best friend. You know? It's like always having your best friend in your pocket.
It's gotta be limited. You gotta be conscious about it. The second way of doing a dopamine detox is in moderation, right? So maybe you pick a day out of the week, or however many days you want. Maybe it's all week. Maybe it's a long period of time because you're just feeling that way. Pick an activity, right, that gives you a lot of dopamine, that really makes you happy, but it's really counterproductive. So exhibit A, playing video games, right? Don't do that for a day. Do other things instead, right? And slowly but surely, it'll take a while. Like, none of these methods that I'm bringing up will be instant, right? Like, you have to put this into practice if you want to see results.
Yeah.
That's the same thing for everything in life. You need to put practice to it. But slowly but surely, right, again, those tasks will seem more attractive. The ones that you don't want to do, the ones that you think are a waste of time or that you think aren't going to do anything for you, well, you're going to start noticing they're going to do things for you, right? And then the third method, third and foremost, I believe it was to do with, so it's the same kind of idea, not doing something at all, but kind of a smaller scale. So instead of eliminating it completely, entirely, just slowly do it less and less and see where that takes you.
Well, that's kind of like setting the amount of time,
timer,
right?
Yeah.
Then you know, okay, I hit this. I made this goal a week ago. I made this goal yesterday, and I need to stick to my plan. Otherwise, you're just self-sabotaging yourself.
Exactly.
But if you decide, I'm going to stick to this, alarm's gone off, time's gone off, I've hit my limit, then there shouldn't be a problem.
Right, because it's hard to quit immediately, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's almost impossible, I want to say, right? You can't just go up and say, I'm going to not text anybody on social media for the next year. Not going to happen. Straight up just not going to happen, because you're either going to relapse, right? Or you're going to go, oh, well, that was stupid, and never do it again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Relapsing is also a part of the process. I don't want to completely, like, shun that, right?
It's an important part of quitting. Like, eventually, like, you're going to hit it back again, and then you're like, okay, I got to fix up. But I mean, try not to, right? It's not like we're like advocating it, but I mean, it is part of the process. It's just as important as deciding that you want to quit.
But those are the three kind of main things that I did just over a glance of research online, kind of just looking into it surface level. What do you think about each of those ones, right? Because there's obviously a lot of things that work for people and a lot of things that don't.
I think that you need to experiment with all of them. Give yourself time. Like we said, it's not an instant thing.
Right? Like, it's hard for a doctor to put away their phone for a day entirely because maybe they're on call, maybe they have a patient, or there's an emergency, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's different for everyone, but
but then
the
other method,
you don't need to have social media on your phone. Like, you don't need to have that.
That's exactly it. The other method is doing things in moderation, right?
If your excuse is that, oh, I need to text people, and you can't like remove social media, no. Like, if social media is your problem, Instagram, Snapchat. If that's your issue, Twitter, Facebook. If that's your problem, if you're spending the majority of your time on those things, remove the problem, and you'll still have access to your phone number, right? Because, I find this so funny. We pay for phones. Like, right? We pay to have a phone number assigned to us. We pay to have SIM cards. We don't pay for Snapchat. We don't pay for Instagram. And we use those 10 times more than we use our actual text messages.
Yeah. That's a crazy concept.
And we're paying for it. And we rarely use it.
That's a crazy concept.
We're like, oh, yeah, just snap me.
Right? Like, use your number.
Motherfucker, what?
Give someone your number, delete Snap.
Like,
whatever.
why do
not
you...
the end of the world.
Why do you have that if you're not even gonna... Like, fucking Snapchat audio phone me. Like, fuck out of here.
Oh, my God. Yo, if you're one of those people that Snapchat audios me, bro...
Yo, that's an instant red
Find
X,
God,
bro.
bro.
I am not picking that shit up. I will
call me. Use my phone number.
I will literally answer it, hang it up, before you even have a chance to let a word slip.
All these apps have such useless features.
I'll jump back to the chat, send you my number, and then that's it.
I might not even answer your phone call, to be honest, after that one. Just get out, bro. Just leave.
Yeah, I don't know.
But those ways of looking at it is really the outlook you got to have on those kind of problems, those situations. Whatever your problem is, social media, video games, random YouTube, Netflix, all of the above, right? Even there's some people who are addicted to even going to the gym, right? To the point where it's harmful. Yeah. Right? You're in the gym so much that you're tearing up your muscles, if you want to get technical about it. Or maybe you're consuming too much food and your body's not doing well, right? All those protein shakes.
Too much sleep, not enough sleep.
Like all
it's life is a constant game of balance.
Of balance. Yes. Balance.
That's why yin yang will always be my favorite.
No cap. Yin yang. Yin yang.
So sad you got rid of that car.
Rest in peace, man. That was a sick Civic. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. That, man, if you have those problems, just get on it. There's no better time than the present. Start working towards something. Start doing something. Be conscious of it. Look at your problem and go, today is the day. Because as we always say.
Good morning, America.
As we always say. Just do it.
Bro.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow.
So today, do it.
That's enough.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Unfiltered podcast.
Rated Unfiltered podcast.
Dopamine detox. Get to work. You know you have a problem. We know you have a problem.
Don't slack.
Go fucking take care of it, motherfucker. Go take care of it.
You gonna be whack. Hey, yo, whoever made contacts, for real, shout out to them, man. I've been out here. This is like my second or third week wearing contacts. Like, it's beautiful out here, man. Like, I don't have to wear my glasses. Like, hey. All right, cut it.